How's it going, YouTube? Right, we're back on the camper again today. I want to get some more done so we can start using this thing properly. In the last camper video, we did the water tanks. Since that video, I've been playing with these sensors as well. What I did was I dropped the tanks a little bit on one side so I could take the sensors out and have a look, and I realised why it was sticking. What I'd done was I'd used a little bit of sealant around the top of the sensor, and when I put the sensor in, the sealant kind of dropped inside, and down that silver pole that the magnet slides up and down, it had dripped down there, and the magnet was getting stuck on it as it was going up and down. So I cleaned that off, and now it's working fine. So while I was there, I checked the waste tank as well, and that was exactly the same. I'd got a few drips of silicone down that little silver shaft, so I cleaned that off, and then that'll be fine now as well. So it's not the sensors that are that bad. They're not as accurate as what you'd think. They're a bit more steppy as they go up. They don't go up in like 1%. They like sit there for a little bit. As the float goes up, it kind of hits its next point, and then the percent on the tank kind of jumps up a few percent all at once. So if you're wanting something super accurate, these are not super accurate, but they're good enough for what I need for now. If I want something more accurate later, what I'll do is I'll get a radar sensor or something like that goes under the tank or on top of it, and I'll fit that, and then we'll get a lot more accuracy out of it. But I don't think we actually need that. As long as I can gauge roughly how much water's in the tank, and I know how many showers and stuff I can have. Once I'll learn that once I'm using the camper, then that's good enough for me. Right, in this video, I want to start the plumbing. At the minute, look, this sink is not fastened down. The reason for that is if I just take this sink out, I'll just put the sink there for a minute. The reason for that, I want to get to the back of here easier than squeezing behind the drawers, so I can plumb these connections up here, fasten these to the back of the wall there, out of the way of the drawers, get this tap all plumbed up here all nicely. It makes it a bit easier to do it through this hole at the top with the drawers out of the way, rather than taking the drawers out and squeezing in under there. Once that's done, then I can start doing the drainage under the sink. I need a really low profile angle coming out of that drain, because there's not a lot of room between the top of this and the bottom of the sink. So we'll have a look around Screwfix and see what we can find for that. But the drainage of that may or may not be in this video. I don't know yet. We'll see how far we get. Right, so what we need to do is in the back of this van, on that back wall over there, if you saw the last video on the tanks, that 15mm pipe there, that's coming from the tanks. That's our water feed that's coming out of the tanks that's going to go into the water pump. All the water pump and everything is going to go on that black wall over there, and then later in that'll all be boxed in. And as I've said before, with some shelves and stuff like that all up over here, so we can put all this sort of stuff away nicely. Right, so what I've got is I've been back to Outerland Supplies, and I've got one of their full plumbing kits. They do various sizes and types. This particular one that I've got, this is a twin outlet kit, because we've got the sink in the kitchen and the shower, so we need two outlets. What I've got is I've chose the medium size kit. They do like a tiny, small, medium, extra large, all that sort of stuff. I chose the medium size kit. The main difference between the kit is the length of the pipe that you get in it and the amount of fittings and things like that. I'm hoping kind of the medium one will be about the right size for this van. This is a H2L3 van. The pump that I've chosen is the SureFlow 7 litre 20 psi, I think it is. We'll have a look when we open it up. It's not super high pressure, not super high flow rate. It's probably the lowest pressure and the lowest flow rate on their site. What my thoughts was preservation of water quantity over pressure. But we'll find out once we fit it. I'm kind of hoping that the pressure and the flow rate and everything is good enough for a shower. It doesn't have to be a shower like we've got at home, just enough to have an actual shower. So I'm hoping this is okay. What we can do later is if it's not okay, what I might do is I might do a video on swapping between a range of pumps once we've got all this plumbing system working, so we can see an actual difference between flow rates and pressure and stuff like that on different pumps. So we'll start with this one and see what it's like. So let's open this kit up and see what you get in it. Right, so open up the top. We'll take out the bits of packaging that we've got in it. This is all John Guest pipework and fittings, so it's good quality stuff. Same as what I've fitted on the 15mm as well. I've fitted John Guest stuff. Don't skimp on water fittings, because if you get a water leak in the van, it's not going to be pleasant, and you're going to end up ripping half the van out to change the floor and things like that. So really don't skimp on these fittings. Get good fittings. The system that we get with this is a 12mm John Guest. So we've got 10 meters of red hose there, 10 meters of blue hose there. We've got a Fiamma accumulator there. We've got one box there, which I'm assuming is the pump and the filter. And then we've got another box there, which I'm assuming is fittings. And we also get a manual there for the pump. Right, so let's have a look what's in these boxes. We'll have a look at this one first, because I think this is the pump. Accumulator there. I'll do a little diagram in a minute, and I'll tell you why we need this. We'll open up this box. As I thought it was in this box, we've got a SureFlow pump. Like I said, this is the 6.8 litres per minute, so the 7 litres per minute and the 20 psi of pressure. Let me take this out of the box so we can see everything what we've got properly. Accumulator there, instructions there, and a few fittings. Don't think we'll need these because these are for hoses, but we'll stick them over there for now. Right, let's open this box of fittings here, and we'll have a quick look what we get inside this. As we can see, everything nicely wrapped up. Let me get it all out and then we can see what we've got. Right, there we are, everything's laid out there. I did go for the max pack option, so it's got a few more extra bits in it, like a few more of these inserts. These pipe clips here, we'll have a look at those in a second, and a pipe cutter and things like that. So we got a few more extra bits with having the max pack upgrade. What I'll do is I'll put a link to the website where you can check out these kits for yourself, and you can see exactly what you get in it. But what we're basically going to do, if I just lay out a few bits in kind of order, from that white pipe there, which comes from the tank, I'm going to need an adapter. I'll get one from Screwfix later. I'm not going to fit this one, but I'll fit a 15mm one. I'll get one from Screwfix. Obviously, if you come out of the tank at 12mm, you can use this whole kit. But what I've done is I've kind of mixed it up a little bit. So I'll be coming out the tank, into a isolator valve, out the isolator valve into a filter. This will filter anything that's floating around in the tank that shouldn't be. Out of the filter, into the pump, out of the pump, into the accumulator, out of the accumulator, into a tap. And then what that's going to do is that's going to split off 3 ways. One for my kitchen taps, one for the shower, and one for the heating. And then obviously out of the heating, we've got the hot water coming back, which will go to the kitchen taps and the shower. Right, this accumulator, what this does is this serves 2 purposes really. One is like an expansion tank, because obviously as things heat up and cool down, water expands. So in summer, as the whole camper van heats up, the water system will expand slightly. And what this does is this has got a diaphragm in it. So this side of the diaphragm is pressured with air. This should be pressured at the same pressure as your pump, so it's balanced. This side is the water, and what it does is as it expands, it'll expand into this half. If it hasn't got anywhere for that expansion to go, what it can do is it can blow fittings and things like that. So when it's expanding, it could blow your fittings. The other thing it does, which is also super important, is it acts like a bit of a shock valve as well. Because when these fire up, they kind of tick, so they're doing a bum, 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 bum as they're pumping. And what it does is it's shocking the water out of the pump. And what you find if you've not got one of these is that shock goes all the way through the pipes, and you can hear it banging through the whole camper van. But when you fit these, the shock will go into there, and this will absorb that shock. So it makes the whole system a lot quieter. So there's the dual purpose of the accumulator. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start screwing all this stuff up in its place on that back wall over there. And then I'll find out exactly what fittings I need to get from Screwfix. And then what we'll do then is we'll run out some pipe work out to the heater in the front, run out some pipe work this way to the front taps. I'm not going to buy any fittings or anything yet from Screwfix until I know exactly what I need across the whole system, just in case I need to get any more for anything else. So let's get as much as we can plumbed in with what we've got here, and then have a look where we are later. So let me get a time lapse going. Let's get some of this stuff screwed in, shall we? Sure, before you put any pipe in these push fit fittings, that you've fitted these little inserts here in the end of the pipe, just like that. Because without those, what you find, especially on hot water pipes as well, is the pipes can collapse. These give it a bit of internal strength so they don't collapse. Because if they end up collapsing at any point, they could come out. So always use these inserts on any push fit fittings. And then basically, all you do is once you've got the push fit fitting in there, you literally push that in there. I'll need two hands to do it. You push that in there as far as it'll go, and then it won't come back out again. If you ever do need to remove it, this little centre bit here is if you push that in. Whilst you're holding that in, you can pull on the pipe and it will let this release back out again. Right, I've got all that screwed back in. I had a bit of an accident with this filter, look. I snapped that off by accident. So I've got another one of those on an emergency order from Amazon, and that'll be here tomorrow morning. So I can replace that. But as you can see, I've also ran out of 15mm inserts, so I'm going to have to nip out and get some of those in a minute. But that's going to go in there. Then we come out of that into that tap plug, and then we go around into that filter. So that's the input side. So it'll be through the filter, through the pump, through the accumulator. On the other side, I've got a tap straight away. So if we want to work on any of this pump, accumulator, or anything like that, we can just valve it off there, valve it off down there as well on the input, and then all this bit will be isolated from the system so we can take it to pieces without losing all the water. After the tap, I've got a T-piece, look. One is going up. I've put a tap on it for now, so that'll be the cold water feed for the shower. The other one there is going to go down, and then there's going to be a T at the bottom. Let me pull back a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So at the bottom there'll be a T-piece. So one will go through there and round the back of the bathroom, and that's going to go into the front seating and feed the water heater. And then the other one is going to come across here, right across there, round and the back of the kitchen units, up into the kitchen taps. So that's going to be the cold water feed for the kitchen taps. And then what I'm going to have coming back from the front is a hot water back again. It'll have a T-piece there later, but for now I'm just going to run it straight past. That T-piece will go up and be the hot water for the shower. So I can cut into that later and fit a T-piece, but for now I'm going to bring it straight past, and I'm going to run that straight up and into the sink as well in the kitchen. So I'm going to run these red and blue pipes around here, and then we'll see you back when they're in. Right, I'm just running this one in now. I'm not going to put an elbow in there. It's got enough flex in it to curve around the corner nicely. I want to cut this pipe as minimum amount of times as possible, because every time you've got one of these joins or an elbow or anything like that in, it's another place of weakness. So as this is quite flexible, we can come round the corner quite nicely. I'm going to come straight into that T-piece, and I'm not going to bother putting an elbow or anything in there. Right, that's the basics plumbed in. Let's have a quick look, see how I've done it. Right, so looking in the back here, like I said, we've still got this bit to do. I'll do that tomorrow. It'll probably be in a minute after I've spoke about this for you. What I've done is this red one here, look. You can see I've put it in this conduit here, so when it's running down anywhere near any cables, the hot one is going to be inside this conduit. So all the way through there, through the back of the bathroom, it all runs through that conduit. I've left this gap here because when I get a shower, I need to cut that, put a T-piece in, so I can take the hot water up there to the shower. The cold water, so it comes out of here. Like I said, it comes into that T-piece. That one goes up to the shower, which is blanked off for now. It goes down into another T-piece there. That one goes through into the seating where the hot water is, and that is going to fill the hot water tank up. This red one, that's the hot water coming back from the hot water system. The other one from the T goes this way, goes all the way along there behind the fridge, and then it comes up in the sink. Let's have a look. So what I've done in here is I've taken all the drawers out for now. If we look behind there, look, you can see the hot and the cold is clipped up, and then it comes across into the next compartment where these drawers are, and then they're connecting into the tap there, look. So what I've done is I've just clipped them up to the back of the cupboard there. I've clipped them up at the top, so at least now if I pull the drawers out, I can get to these quite easily if there's anything wrong. The weight over here, I've clipped that back there. That weight is for this tap because it's one of those type where you can pull it out and give it a swish around and all that sort of stuff. So that is ready now to try a bit of water on. What I can do is I can turn it around there just to make sure it's not going anywhere. But I think what I might do the rest of today is I might try and find some pipe or something so I can do the drain in this sink and get it down there to the waste tank. Right, let's have a quick look under the seat here. The pipes for there, they're running across that back wall. Obviously we're going to do this bathroom later, and like I said, the hot one is in the conduit, so I've kept that insulated, and then all they're doing is they're coming through into this seating down here because I've got to connect up the bobble van's heating. Actually, this will probably be the next job before the bathroom, connecting up all this heating. So I've got the red one there, that's just there. And the cold one, obviously that's going to have water on it as soon as we turn the pump on. So I've got a non-return valve on it there. So the hot water from the system can't go back that way into the cold water side of it. And then I've got a valve on it there that we can turn on when it's all plumbed in. So that's that system just blanked off for now. So when that filter comes and I wire up that inlet, what we can do is we can turn the pump on and then we can prime up all this side here and make sure we've got water coming out of this tap here. And then at least we've got some of the water system done. So I'll either see you in a second when I've plumbed that back in and we're powering it on, or I'll see you in a second when I'm connecting up the drain on that sink. A haircut later, and I've got a new filter that got delivered this morning. I got that from Amazon because it's the weekend and I wanted it delivered on a Sunday. Right, so I'm going to get this fitted now and we can finish off that plumbing bit, and then we can actually get some plumbing turned on this vehicle. Yesterday afternoon, after I switched the camera off, I did the waste pipe as well on that sink, so we'll have a look at that in a minute. In fact, let's go and have a look at that now. Right, this sink, I've plumbed it in, look. Let me undo the bottom of the waste and take this sink out, and then we can have a look. I want it out anyway whilst we turn the water on. So let's have a look how I've done this. Right, so I've used 40mm waste pipe here. On the bottom, I've used this shallow bath trap because I don't want it to go too far down because of this first drawer here. But I didn't want to come off with just an angle. I wanted a little bit of a trap because I don't want any smells coming back up out of the tank. Then I've carried on just with normal push fit waste fittings. I've gone down to the floor. If I pull this drawer out of the way, then what you can see is that angles underneath the drawer and then goes through the floor. What that does is outside that comes, I've got a little bit of waste pipe going outside, and then onto that waste pipe what I've got is some 40mm flexible hose, which I'll take back to the tank. We'll do that at a later date because the weather is absolutely awful today and I'm not laying on the floor in this. But we've got to do the waste drain anyway. So while I'm under doing that, then I can connect this one up to the tank. But for now, at least while I'm testing this water, I can put some water into this sink and it'll go outside instead of all over the van. So that is the waste actually done on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it like this. I'm going to fit that filter in the back and let's get these water pumps turned on. And then we can check all of this for leaks. Hopefully it'll be fine. Right, that's that plumbed up now. We've got the new filter in. I've plumbed that in as well. I've got the tap open here. What I've done across here is I'll leave this one closed for now so we can pressurise all this little bit and get some water up here, make sure the pump stops when it's supposed to. That's by default 0.9 bar, 13 psi, so that should be about right. I said earlier that this needs to be the same pressure as this. It doesn't. This needs to be less. Because these have a pressure switch inside that turns this pump off at 20 psi. So if this was pumped up to 20 psi, what that'll do is it'll push the water back out and turn off that pressure switch. So you need this slightly less than what this is. So 13 psi should be about right. If it's banging still too much, we put a bit more pressure in and it should quieten that up. On the hot down here, look, I've put a T-piece in now. I've brought that up. It's literally just got a little bit of pipe in it just to hold it out the way, but I've put a valve on there and closed them, so both those two valves there are closed for the shower. So later on, when I do the heating in the front, I can prime all the heating circuit as well. Over here in the electrics, I've just put a wire in here, temporary for now. You see the Energy Solutions smart switch over there. Energy Solutions are still developing the software for that because now the Victron software's all been updated, so they need to update the software for this, so it'll add an extra page to the servo menu. So until that's done, this switch is not officially released yet, so I can't use it at the minute anyway. So what I've done just to bypass that, over in the back corner over there, there's a relay, that's for the pump. And then what this does is this triggers that relay, but it goes through to the front here, and I've wired it up to the servo relay output 1. So when I go in the servo screen and click relay output 1, that'll close this connection here and close that pump relay there, which will start the pump. So that will do for now. I'll leave it like that until Energy Solutions finish the software for this smart switch, and then we can start wiring some stuff into that and make it really posh. Right, so if we go to the servo screen, I've put a bit more water in it, so we're up at 50% now. If we go back to the overview screen, you see in the top left corner, we've got the little switch button thing. Just there, look, it says switch relay 1. If I turn that on, that'll turn the pump on. I can hear it clicking, so let's go around quickly. Hopefully it should suck some water in soon. We should see this fill up with water. It should pressurise and then stop. There it is. So I'm assuming now that has built up with pressure. So the next job we need to do is I just need to go in the van and make sure this pipe here that goes to the heating, that's definitely turned off. And then what I can do is I can open this one up and then we can let the water through to the rest of the system. And hopefully we won't drown the place. Right, so I'm going to leave that open. That pipe is there and that is definitely switched off, so I'll leave that open. Right, so let's open the water up to the whole van. Hopefully we won't drown the place. Pump's kicked in again. Let me go outside. Oh, pump's stopped already. That's good, that means we're not leaking. Right, so I'm kind of assuming we should have water in there. So if I turn that to cold, let's open it up. Yes. Yes, and it's starting and stopping. I can hear the pump starting and stopping as it's going. Right, so let me have a quick look round. The pump's stopped, so we're holding pressure. So that means everything down there is fine. Everything in there looks fine. There's no drips or anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and stop it a few times, put it under a bit of pressure, make sure everything's still all right. And then what I'll do is I'm going to put this sink in and then we're going to fill it up and make sure all the drainage is working as well. At the minute it'll just drain out onto the drive, but I want to make sure all this is watertight as well. Actually, before we do, let me show you what these red clips are for. Now we know it's not leaking. So on these push fit connectors, we know if we push that bit in, we can pull the pipe out. So what these are, these things here are kind of locks. So what you can do is if you push it in that gap there and click it in, just like that, what that does is it locks it so you can't push that in by accident and undo it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these and I'm going to lock off all the cold water system now. Now I know it's not leaking. Right, so as you can see, I've got those little red locks on all of the cold water system now. I'll do the hot system once I know that's not leaking as well. Those little red locks, you get those in the Max Pack. Something else, it's kind of worth doing, because if you're messing around in here and things like that, if you catch something, you could catch it by accident, push that in and let the pipe come out. At least now you know they're locked. The larger ones, the 15mm, they're slightly different. You don't need those locks because what you do is you can turn that and tighten it up, and then that locks the system as well, so you can't push those back just by turning that and tightening it up. So now I know all the cold water system is locked. Right, I did have a little bit of a leak to start with, but that was completely my fault. It's all wet under here, look, because the plug there under the sink, I forgot to actually tighten it up. Because if I take that out, it's got a screw in there, and I forgot to tighten that up. Now it's fine, it's not leaking at all. And as you can see, it's emptying really quick, which is perfect. Right, so I think what I'm going to do now is I've just filled this sink up. I'm going to leave it like that and see how it holds. Nothing's wet under there at all anymore. I'm going to leave the pump on for a bit so it's all under pressure, and I'm just going to leave everything for a while and see how it goes. The underneath of the van where the waste connects into the tank, I'll do that later because I've got to do the waste drain anyway. Like I said, what I'll do is I'll put some links down below where you can check out this kit from Outerland Supplies yourself. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more of this camper build. We've still got quite a bit more to do, even though it looks quite complete, to be honest. We've still got all of the shower to do and the heating. I need to put some wheels on it, and then we've got lots of little bits and bobs everywhere that we've got to sort out. So don't forget to subscribe for that. Comment below anything you want to put. I do like reading all your comments. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and I'll catch you again later. Cheers.